Hello everyone, welcome to video lectures for the lab experiments of microcontrollers and programming. In this video, we'll see the execution of the first experiment, that is of data transfer programs. First, we'll open our Keil IDE. Then if there's any pre-existing project open, we'll close it by clicking on Project and then Close Project. Now we'll create a new project by again clicking on Project, selecting the first option, that is New Microvision Project. Now we'll select the file location where we'll save all our projects. I'll save it on my desktop by going to desktop. I'll create a new folder here. I'll give a project name and then click on Save. Now we'll select the hardware that we are going to use in the lab, that is STM32F407VG I'll click on this icon and then click on OK. We'll click on OK without making any changes. Coming to the first part of the program, that is to transfer a block of data from a ROM memory to RAM memory and then exchange the data in RAM memory. To write the program in the code editor, it is important to note that you maintain the indentation or the alignment that is shown in the manual. For example, in the first line of the program that says preserve 8, there is one tab space before the mnemonic. So we'll give one tab space and then write preserve 8. In the next line, since there is no space, we'll directly write from the leftmost stack EQU 0x 5 zeros 100. The next line again has one tab space, so we'll write area stack no init read write align 3. In this way, we'll write the entire program while maintaining the indentation. Now we have written the entire program. After writing the code, we'll build the code by clicking on the build option here. We can see the build output in this window here. For any errors, for any syntax errors that are there, we can then go to that line and rectify the error and then again click on build. We'll do this until we get 0 errors and 0 warnings. After building the code, we'll then go to the debug window where we'll run the program and check for its output by clicking on the debug option and then selecting the first option that says start or stop debug session. When you do that, the debug window opens up where you can see the code here, and this is called the register window where you see all the registers and the content stored in that register. Now, to see the transfer of data from ROM to RAM locations, we have to add the memory windows. That you can do by clicking on View, going to Memory Windows, and you can click any of them. Now I'll click Memory 1. Here I'll give the RAM location, that is 0x2 followed by 7 zeros. I'll give Enter. I'll add the second memory window by going to View, clicking on Memory Windows, and you can add any of the memories. So I'll enter the memory address as 0x00 050 and click on Enter. Okay, as you can see here, the array of data is starting from 3, but then I have entered the value from 1 to 16. So I notice that I'm missing 2 bytes of data. This I can correct it by going behind 2 bytes, that is I'll start from 48. Now as you can see, the array is starting from 1 and ending at 16. As I keep running the loop, all the data, all the elements of the array keeps getting copied one by one. After all the data has been transferred, now if you follow the green line, you notice that it comes out of the memory copy loop and then goes to the exchange loop. Now here, the elements of the array are being will be exchanged within the RAM address itself. You can see that when I run the loop once, as you can see, the last element that is 16 has been exchanged with 18. Now if I run the loop again, you can see 15 and 7 have been exchanged. So I keep running the loop. As I run the loop, you can see all the elements, that is the first half of the elements that is 1 to 8 have been exchanged with second half of the elements that is 9 to 16. Now when I click on this option again, it will come out of the loop and it'll go to an infinite stop B stop loop. You can also execute the code in one shot, that is all the instructions at once, and you'll get this final output by clicking on the option that says run. When you click on this option, all the codes will be run at once and you'll just get your final output in the memory windows. This was the execution of the first part of the program. Now to go back to the editor window, you can do that by clicking on the debug option and then again clicking on start or stop debug session. You will go back to your editor window where you can modify the code if there's any error or you're not getting the output that you want in the debug session. To correct it, you have to again come back to the editor window by clicking on debug and start or stop debug. This was the first part of the experiment. Coming to the second part of the experiment, that is again transfer of data from ROM to RAM, but this time we'll be doing it with an overlap. That is, certain locations in RAM will be overlapped while transferring the data. Uh, To write the code, first we have to add a new file because we'll be writing the programs or the codes in different files under the same project. To do that, first we have to remove the existing file by clicking on the right-clicking on the file and selecting the option that says remove file and click on yes. To add a new file, we'll follow the same procedure as first time. That is, right-click on it and click on add new item to group. Give it since it is an assembly file, we'll click on the option that says asm file with .s extension. Give the file name and give it as 1b and click on add. We'll close this window as well. Yeah, now we have a blank code editor. We'll write the code again by maintaining the indentation and following the procedure as last time. Tab space, preserve 8. Next line without tab space, tag EQ 0x00100 and so on. After writing the code, we'll build the code by clicking on build option, check if there are any errors. If there's any error, go to that line, correct it, and then again click on build option until you get 0 errors and 0 warnings. After you've built the code, go to debug window by clicking on debug, start or stop debug session. The debug window opens up, but this time we'll be needing only one memory window for location. So we'll be adding only one memory window by going on to view, click on memory windows and you can click any of the memories. Now when I run the code step by using the step option, you can see when I run the memory copy loop, the elements of array are being copied from ROM to RAM. When I run the loop for 8 more times, all the elements gets copied from a ROM to RAM. So this was the first part of the code where data is being copied from RAM to ROM. In the second copy, the data is again being copied but with an overlap. that you can see in this line of code. You can see we are loading the register with the address of array plus 28 and an overlap that is defined here, 0x08. So we'll be having a gap of 2 bytes, and then the elements are overlapped with the first array. When I run the code, you will see it. You can see the elements are again getting copied from 8, but we have a gap of 2 bytes. When I run the transfer loop completely, the elements are now getting overlapped. 8 is replaced by 6 and 7 is replaced by 5. After I run the code, you can see that we find an overlapped array at the address. The elements from 3 to 8 have been replaced from 1 to 6. So after you're done running the code, you can go back to the editor window by clicking on debug, start or stop debug session. With this, we have completed the execution of both the programs under first experiment. We infer that the first experiment basically deals with transfer of data from ROM to RAM and how we can manipulate data in RAM. Hope you've understood everything that has been explained in this video. Thank you.